Sir, there have been major Islamic radical groups in the past, but these days a radical group naming Boko Haram is making headlines. What is your opinion on their unacceptable behavior?
Most certainly what they're doing by and large is absolutely unacceptable and un-Islamic. But I'm sure that this plain statement is not going to satisfy many non-Muslims and maybe some Muslims as well. Because whatever they're doing, they're claiming that they're doing on the basis of the Sharia and Islam. Their motto is to bring about a revolution in Nigeria, which is going to be based on Sharia, and then to expand it to the rest of the world. Quite similar to what many other radical Islamists are trying to do in this world. And therefore there are many people who are tracing their relationship with others, Al-Qaeda, etc. The fact of the matter is that what they're doing is based on an incorrect understanding and interpretation of the Quran and the times of the Prophet, may God's mercy be on him. We know that the Prophet, may God's mercy be on him, got involved in a jihad against the enemies of Islam. We also know that at times there were people who got killed. There were people who were asked to convert to Islam or else lose their life. And what these people are trying to do is to replicate it. And they claim that this is what Islam stands for. And of course people wonder what is wrong with their line of argument. What I want to say very clearly is that their line of argument is faulty, is absolutely wrong, misleading, and it is bringing a real bad name to the good face of Islam. The real problem is in their understanding that whatever the Prophet, may God's mercy be on him, did is what we all need to follow, without realizing that the Quran very clearly differentiates between the role of the Prophet as the messenger of God, Rasulullah, wherein he was given the task to deliver God's message to his immediate people in a manner that would remove all possibilities of doubt and to make them then face the consequences if they would refuse to accept, despite the fact that the message had been communicated to them most clearly. This is something which has always been the case when a messenger of God comes to visit his nation. This is something that happened in the case of Noah, Moses, and many other prophets, may God's mercy be on all of them. So the last messenger of God, Muhammad, may God's mercy be on him, was also a messenger of God. Therefore, when he delivered the message to his immediate nation, they had no choice. They were either to believe or they were to perish, and this is exactly what happened. But this is not something which is meant to be done by later Muslims, because his role as the messenger of God, the sole representative of God, has to be distinguished with his role as the lawgiver. The law that he gave, the Sharia that he gave, was meant for all times to come, but there were certain particular unique assignments that were peculiar to him and his times, which need to be clarified to the world at large and to many Muslims as well, that they were not meant to be replicated for the later times. Now that is what has caused Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda and Taliban and many such other groups to erupt and to claim that we are going to fight against the non-Muslims, force them to convert to Islam, make their ladies slave girls and their men slaves. Let me clarify, by the way, that it was during the time of the Prophet, may God's mercy be on him, that God eliminated slavery, at least theoretically, on the basis of the Quranic verses, wherein gradually the Almighty introduced a reform movement which ultimately meant that all able-bodied slaves and slave girls had the right to emancipate, to get freed by undertaking a contract, understanding with their masters, and the Almighty appealed to all Muslims that now that they have an obligation to pay to their masters, you contribute wholeheartedly to get them emancipated. After this decree, only those men and women who would voluntarily want to remain slaves and slave girls were the ones who remained slaves and slave girls. At least what that is exactly what the Quranic intent was. And then the Almighty also declared in another surah, Surah Muhammad, which said that the prisoners of war are either going to be freed without asking for any payment, or they're going to be freed by asking them to make a payment. No third option of making them prisoners of war was left for the Muslims to go for. So what I'm trying to say is that Boko Haram is a movement which is based on principles and understanding which are totally unacceptable from the point of view of Islam.